Sorry?
We are live, young lady.
We're live.
We are live, young lady.
Hi there.
Yeah, hey Kim Coles.
Hey, Fran Harris.
Hi, everybody. It's Fran and Kim. We told you we were going to come on and talk to you guys about lights, cameras, action, but more importantly, we were going to answer some questions. We got about, I would say, between 10 and 12 questions. Some of those we've answered in the last few days, but many of those we have not. So first of all, we just want to say, hey, how you guys doing? I'm going to let Kim go ahead and introduce herself to those of you who may not be familiar with the wonderful Kim Coles. Kim will do that, and then I'll introduce myself.
Hello, I'm the wonderful Kim Coles. That's
how you do it.
I'm an actress, a comedian, author, speaker, host, producer, and a bunch of other things. But most importantly, I've had a 30-year reign in this wonderful business we call show. And I'm at the place in my career and in my time and in my life where I want to teach what I know. And I'm so excited to be able to share some of the knowledge that I have, some of the 30 years of knowledge, some of the things you can only learn when you've done it. And it's time for me to bestow this knowledge upon others. And so I joined forces with the wonderful Fran Harris, and she's going to introduce herself. And we'll tell you what questions we're answering today and why we want you to join us.
Outstanding. All right. So I'm typing as I am trying to multitask. By the way, I'm typing to make sure everybody is typing their comments in YouTube. Type questions in YouTube if you're watching live on YouTube. If you're watching our Google Hangout, type your questions in the chat bar so that we know you guys are there. Thank you for joining. I'm Fran Harris. I have had a career in television for 25 years. I started out as an ESPN announcer. I'm still doing play-by-play for ESPN, the Longhorn Network, and the SEC Network, and some others. I hosted a show on HGTV for you HGTV addicts out there called Home Rules a few years ago, and have just enjoyed my journey in television and realized that most of the things that I've been able to accomplish have been accelerated by the fact that I've been on television in some shape, form, or another for the last 25 or so years. So Kim and I, again, have joined forces to bring you guys Lights, Cameras, Action, which is an exciting coaching program, mentoring program that we are co-creating and that we're excited to have some folks already a part of. We're going to be launching that. The first class will be this coming Monday or Tuesday. And so we're giving you the opportunity to ask us questions about not just that program, but also for those of you who are currently in the midst and the mix of and the throes of trying to get your brand at a higher level, elevating your message to millions of folks. We want to share with you how television can be a part of that. So Kim, I'm going to throw the first question at you.
Okay.
We got through email, and it's from, I won't say anyone's name. It's from T. Snowden, who wanted to know if we thought that being over 50 was a detriment and impediment to getting on television in today's age.
That's a great question because I happen to be over 50.
Me too. Yeah. Just a few days ago.
Really? That's right. That's right. Happy belated. So let me say this. There are no detriments, and don't let age or size or skin color or the type of hair that you have or the type of accent that you have or where you come from. There really are no impediments to you having an opportunity, to making opportunities for yourself, to stepping into opportunities that are available for you, because it's constant. I went on an audition yesterday, and get this, the description of the character was that she was a little bit overweight, and my agent had a hard time telling me that. I was like, it's okay, that's who I am right now. Overweight for whose standards, whatever. She was in her 40s, and she was fiery. Hello, that's most of the people I know, and that's me. And so there are lots of opportunities once you step into this industry. There are plenty of opportunities, and we all know that the legendary story is that the great Sam Jackson, who is in the Guinness Book of World Records for being in more films than any other person on this earth, didn't get started until well into his 40s or 50s, I want to say. So there are no limitations. The limitations are only in your mind.
Absolutely. And I don't know, Kim, if I never really think about my age. I don't know why. I mean, I just turned 51 the other day, and I never really think about my age until like one of my cousins or my little brothers is, like, hey girl, you getting old, that kind of stuff. I never really think about my age at all. And I certainly don't think about it when I'm going for an audition or when someone's saying, hey, we're putting together this show and we're looking for experts. I think, as you mentioned, I think about what I bring to the party. And
Exactly.
what I bring to the party. Now, part of that is my experience, and that obviously comes with age for most of us, but it's not the only thing. That's just a part of the package. So T. Snowden, what both Kim and I are saying is age ain't nothing but a number, and there's
Right.
no reason for you to hold yourself back, to think that you may not get things because of your age. Now, here's what I will say, Kim, and you can chime in on that. I mean, sometimes people are looking for a certain thing. Sometimes they're
Right.
they're doing a millennial show. And maybe you don't fit in the millennial show because you're not a millennial, but that shouldn't stop you from pursuing your dreams. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's what I was going to chime in and say, that, if you're set in your mind that you still want to be the ingenue, the young ingenue with the hair flowing, running down the beach, that's not that, get past that, because
Right.
there's plenty of opportunities for you. On our 4 week amazing workshop, we're going to talk about all these different factors that go into creating character and understanding your uniqueness, and work with what you got, because there are opportunities where you are. And the other piece of it is that there are so many opportunities for people who just look like real people. And guess what? There are 50-year-old women in the world, and you can get hired just by being you.
Outstanding. Okay, so T. Snowden, hopefully that answers that question. The one other thing I want to tell you, Kim, that is so cool before we answer another question is we got some emails from folks. This was one of the coolest, I have to say, in the top 3. And there was someone who was rushing from chemotherapy who missed our webinar. I
Wow.
mean, that level of commitment.
Wow.
Give this sister a shout out for sure. Said I got late to the webinar because the chemotherapy thing was going late. I love that. If you're out there and watching us right now, we salute you.
Wow. Giving you love and blessings and healings.
Yes, no question. All right, next question. And this comes up a lot, Kim. You knew that it was going to come up a lot. And that's, how do I get an agent? Do I need an agent? Do I need a manager? What am I supposed to do right now when I'm an unknown?
hmm Well, it depends on the stage where you are. It depends on where you are. Agents are great because they are part of your team. Managers are great because they're a part of your team, and it's team you. And these people's job, that's bad English. This person's job is to go out and help you find work because they have access to the job listings. There are ways to, listen, I always send people to, there's many agencies. I always send people to the Screen Actors Guild AFTRA site to, first of all, check out and see if this agency is approved and is real. By the way, you never have to pay for an agent. You don't ever pay up front to have an agent work for you. Not necessary. And each agency has their own way of receiving new submissions. So some just say send pictures in, some say we see new people on Thursday. There's different ways, and so you have to educate yourself as to each agency's procedures. There's also backstage.com that also has a listing of agencies and approved agencies, and you can also check people out through the Better Business Bureau, because there's been a lot of folks out there who take people's money and don't help them out. But again, I say, if you have to pay up front for an agent, that is not a real talent agent, in my opinion.
Yeah. And what I will say about having an agent right now is don't worry about getting an agent right now. Honestly, I think the best thing, and I don't know about you, Kim, but for me, most of the work I've ever gotten has been through my own efforts, my team's own efforts. It's not been through an agent or a manager. So I would say get your hustle on, start meeting people, networking with people in your local area, and networking with people online. Get into some groups who are doing what you do. If you're an actress, if you're an actor, or if you're a comedian, network with people virtually and in your city, and just get your hustle on. Seek out different opportunities for yourself and get your name out there and get known just through your sheer determination and your will. And forget about getting an agent. People used to tell me when I started out was like, people will find you when it's time for you.
Yes.
people will find you. They will start calling you. They will say, hey, you know what? You've gotten to this level. You should talk to my manager. Or you should talk to this agent or whatever. So don't worry about that. I wouldn't stress about that at all right now.
Well, I was going to also add that if you're doing workshops and different theater group experiences and just out there doing your thing, people will find you. There will be showcases. There will be opportunities to meet the right people. And there are ways you can get booked even if you don't have an agent.
Awesome. Let's take a quick break, Kim, and talk about lights, cameras, action. Let's do it together. Right. Lights, camera, your turn, action, because you like to do that part.
I do like to do that part because I love that you and I got in action about creating this wonderful 4-week experience for people to teach this knowledge that we know and to give people a game plan and a template and the tools and the tips and the techniques. And this is for you if you are an actor, if you're a comedian, but also if you're a coach or a speaker or you've always wanted to be a television personality. Both Fran and I have done this for a combined 60 years, and we have created this wonderful curriculum to give you what you need to have, as we like to say, to get seen, noticed, and booked. And I like to define that a little bit. Seen is so that people see you doing your talent, doing your gift. Noticed also for me means remaining memorable. So you get seen, you get noticed, people are paying attention to you, and then booked is actually booking the job. And so this wonderful 4-week experience, which Fran is going to fill in some more details about, it's all about giving you this knowledge so that you can feel confident and have clarity as you move forward into this career that you've chosen and in this lifestyle that you've chosen for yourself, this life that you've chosen.
Right. And, we always talk about that when we started in television, back in the day, if you will, and even before that, when we were growing up, if you were on television, there were 3 networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS. So if you were on television, whoa, like you were a super duper celebrity. You were in a famous family, you were a celebrity in Hollywood. I mean, that because there were so few opportunities. What 2016 gives us all are the opportunities to spread our wings and fly, right? There's no reason for you to be grounded in 2016. There are so many opportunities for you, whether we're talking about online, having your own network online, your own show online, or regular television, which we're going to talk about the difference between those and why we still are huge fans of that. But I said that to say 30 years ago was ABC, NBC, CBS. Today it's over 700 cable networks. Yeah. Ridiculous. So there's no excuse for you not to be getting your message out there to the masses, to the millions, when there are so many opportunities out there. And Kim, a lot of people will say, well, lights, cameras, action, how to get seen, how to get noticed, how to get booked. That's fine. But don't I really have to be at a certain level to get on television? And what would you say to that?
I would say no. Have you watched television? Have you watched television?
Right.
There's room for everyone. And we're talking not only as actors or as professional people. There's room for people who are regular folks. There's room for experts. My old neighbor that I grew up with in Brooklyn is now an expert on TV. And it's so funny how one booking begets another booking, There's once you get started, you can't stop. You get called to come and go on a talk show and talk about vegetables or cat care or doggy care, or you become, once you get started, you can't stop. And so it's not just for those of us who are the thespians. There's actually room for you as a regular person. There's game shows, there's reality shows. And I love that you and I have had a lot of experience in lots of different things, and we can help guide people where they need to be, and whether or not you are a professional or not. You become professional the minute you step in. So
and that's what I would say too, is you just need to know something about something. I mean, you really do. You just need to know something about something to get on television. When I got on TV, it was initially to just talk about sports, right? I played basketball. I knew something about basketball. So people started asking me to come on television to talk about basketball, whether it was talking about a boys or girls state championship team, or it was talking about how you become a championship or an elite athlete. That's how it went down. That's literally how it went down. So I want you guys watching us now to, just for a second, forget about Hollywood, forget about LA or New York, and think about your local city. Think about the fact that if you turn on the television tomorrow morning, you will see a regular person on television talking about something, whether it's talking about food or dieting or jewelry or plastic surgery, you'll see someone from your local area talking about what they know. That's it.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, why can't that be you?
And why can't you then turn that into, there's many people who have then turned that into a wonderful career. I know somebody in Houston who has her own natural hair salon. And she's also a DIYer. She got called on to do a segment on the news, and now she has a regular segment on the news doing the DIY thing. And she's considered an expert, and she's the go-to. And they call her when they need her to fill in and do what she does. And so we can help get you ready to be that expert. There's something that you do that no one else does. There's something that you know that no one else knows, and you can be the expert that is called in to come and share it with the rest of us. That's exciting that these opportunities are there.
Absolutely. And we know that you've seen reality shows. We know that some of them are hot messes, but nevertheless, they are out there. And we know that you've seen some, whether it's a salon or it's a matchmaking relationship. I mean, think about the gamut of shows that are out there that could use someone like you on them. Again, these can be local, they can be regional, they can be national, they can be syndicated, which we're going to talk about in our coaching program, Lights, Cameras, Action. We're going to talk about all of those. We're going to present all of those opportunities to you because we know that there's a wide tapestry of people watching us right now who have many different ways to do what they want to do. And Kim, your first appearance, let's talk about maybe some of your early appearances on television. How did they come about?
The first appearances for me happened because I was a stand-up comedian. And actually my first appearances weren't even to do stand-up. They were to go on local morning shows to weigh in on a topic in a funny manner. So maybe it was a panel of comedians like, what do you think about what's happening with the so-and-so? I wasn't even actually doing the stand-up. I got seen and I got noticed because I was doing stand-up, but I got booked to be as an expert on a show because I had an expertise in comedy. And in fact, I wasn't even an expert. I was a newbie at comedy, but that didn't matter. I was ready for prime time, I suppose. And so those were some of my first experiences. And they helped then expand the rest of the brand. Somebody sees you on TV, then they book you to do something else. Or maybe you get booked on a show and you realize, I need to write a book about this. And then lo and behold, you're back because now you're an author. So everything begets everything. Everything is sort of a link in the chain of your beautiful career. And each link, you work on that piece and you link into something else and you link into something else until you have this wonderful necklace of joy. I'm looking for a metaphor or a thing. I pulled that one out, didn't I?
Yep, you did. Yep, you did.
Go on.
Proceed. Okay, so before I share my embarrassing story and share my first one, I mean, were you always great on television? We know you. We know you. Most people know you as the lovable, as you like to say, Sinclair from Living Single. But if we rewind back to those early days, let's talk about how bad we were on television before we got good on television. That's important.
Funny is I actually listen. I have some old VHSs there. I've dated myself. And first of all, my voice was so high. And it wasn't just because I was young, it's because I hadn't dropped into my voice yet.
Yeah.
It was just really here. And I didn't know it. And I had a really strong New York accent. I sounded like that. And but it was good enough to get me seen. It was also, I was being authentically me. I hadn't been overtrained to be this perfectly poised, whatever. People just liked me because I was this goofy young girl, doing my thing. And it's all right. And we want to make sure that people understand that whatever place you're in, it's all right, because you're always growing and building and going to the next level. So my thing is that my voice was really high like this. I was like, I didn't even talk like that. So learning to drop it to my voice, and I'm sure that Fran and I can help all of you drop into your voice, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, think about it. I went into television after doing like a cable access. I was doing sports on cable access, right? And then I went there like 2 years, maybe a year or so later, to being on ESPN. So I went to like 10 people watching me to like millions of people watching me. And it's not like I could actually see the 10 million people, but just the thought of looking into that camera and thinking, oh my goodness, I am on ESPN. I am on ESPN. What in the world is going on? And I was so nervous, right? And everybody who started in television can probably attest to looking at the camera and your eyes just going like this, Kim, like, Like, what do I do now? And that's how it was when I
Wow.
started. And it was hilarious. And I could never wait. I was like, oh, don't put me on camera. Most people who are on television love to get on camera.
Of
And I was like,
course.
oh God, don't put me on camera, because my eyes are going to be like the size of 2 eggs if I get on camera, because I'm thinking about those 10 million people who are out there. But eventually you get training, you start to learn that it's really just about being who you are genuinely. And that's always the best you.
Always.
And that's what happened. That's certainly what happened for me. Was like someone said, okay, take it easy, at ease, soldier. Don't worry about, just be who you are off camera. Just be that person on camera and all will be well. And those are some of the things that Kim and I are going to share with you through Lights, Cameras, and Action. We're going to share with you how to find that person, because a lot of times, you think you need to be someone else on camera, and unless you're being an actor or an actress, you don't.
No, you don't. I think you just need to be you, but maybe dialed up just a tiny bit, just like the best. I think you just said always be the best you.
Yes.
The best version of you at that particular time, and that will be plenty. And
no question.
We see enough folks on TV now. Just if you watch the landscape, there's a range of super professional, super polished, and just regular folks who are doing their thing. And nowadays, there really is a focus and an attention and a hunger for regular folks just doing their things. And you're not regular because you have a dream. You're not regular because you have a hunger to be this, just to share your message in some way. But we can help you get from regular to extraordinary, but still being you.
Absolutely. Next question is out of Chicago. I couldn't figure out the name from the email, so we're just from Chicago. The question was, do I need a niche already to enroll in your course and to enroll in Lights, Cameras, Action? Do I need to already have my niche decided on? And I would say not necessarily, because one of the things that Kim and I bring to the course and the training and the coaching is a background, a history in a lot of different paths. So Kim said she started out as a comedian. I started out as a commentator, as a sports commentator. And then those things fortunately grew into other things. It's not that we don't do those anymore. They kind of blossomed into other areas. And so, Kim, what are your thoughts on people who are wondering if before they enroll in Lights, Cameras, Action, if they need to have their niche already?
No, you don't. And we'll help you define that. And, I always forget to tell people I actually started out as a model. I started out as a plus size model, and then that led to stand up, and then that led to everything else. And again, it blossomed. I love the way you said that. So no, you don't need to do that. And if you don't know, we have a series of questions that will help clarify and help shape. And so maybe you get to choose 3 things that you really like, and then they all can support each other, so to speak. So we can help you clarify your niche if you don't know what it is.
So there's synergy. In fact, when I started out as doing sports television, then I started becoming a commentator. So that meant when something compelling was happening in the news about sports, give you an example, when Imus, the shock jock radio person, called the Rutgers women's basketball players nappy-headed hoes, I believe was the phrase, end quote. I remember. Do you remember that, Cam?
I remember it well.
Yeah. So when that happened, I was like, oh no, he did. And then so I started literally just sending out press releases saying I was available to comment on this issue. That's a simple way for you to be on television and radio, by the way. We're not talking necessarily about radio, but most of the things we're going to be talking about in Lights, Cameras, Action apply to getting yourself out there in whatever medium. We're just focusing on television because that's what we've done for 60 years combined. So sometimes it's just about adding your touch, adding your comments on a topic in your area of expertise. Or I know some people have an issue with the word expert, but I will tell you this. People on television don't book people who are not experts. They don't. So whether you want to call yourself that or not, if you know something about something, you are an expert. You may not know everything about that topic, but no producer has ever called me and said, Fran, I'm wondering, do you know maybe a quasi competent psychologist? Do you know anybody who sort of knows something about cars? Nobody does that. So you got to get comfortable with the word expert. You can call yourself whatever, but it just means that you have a working knowledge of what you'll be talking about on television.
There you go. I like that.
All right. Next
all you need
question.
to do is be an expert for
Go for it.
about 5 or 10 minutes. So you
Right.
can pull that together and get called. You know, there's a thing about show business. They always say that if someone asks if you can do something, just say yes. And there's
Mhm.
plenty of stories of people who needed to be able to roller skate or ride a horse or fence, and you just say yes, and then you go get yourself some training and become relatively proficient at it. Because the truth is, they're going to have somebody on the set who really shows you how to do it anyway, so you'll be fine. So just say yes. Thank
Great.
you.
Here is a topic. Here's a question that we're going to love, Kim, because you and I have been talking about this for the last few months, and that's mindset. Someone said, well, I don't really want to be a celebrity. I'm not doing this because I want to be a celebrity. This question came from Houston, Texas. I'm not trying to be a celebrity. If I just leave it there, what's your response to that?
I would go like, that's good. That, to me, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
If your focus is not on the fame, if your focus is not on the notoriety, then that's a good thing. That means that your focus, I'm hoping that you're replacing that desire to be a star with a desire to get your message, a desire to open your gift and share it with the world.
Do that again.
What a nice to be a star. I don't even know why it's gotta be like this. So I actually prefer to work with people whose end game is not fame, because the truth is fame is a byproduct, and it can be a really funky, uncomfortable byproduct of this chosen field. So I would say focus on the work, focus on the gift that you have inside of you, focus on the message, and focus on how you will change the world with your gift. Let me tell you, when people tell me, oh, Kim Coles, this is not about me, but I'm just gonna give it as an example.
Yeah.
Oh, you make me laugh. Oh, I watched that show and I was feeling down and now I feel so much better. Oh, every time I see you, I just want to hug you. I'm changing the world one person at a time. Now, I'm not, curing cancer. I'm not Mother Teresa, but I'm doing my part. And so it's not about the celebrity. The celebrity or the fame is what you use to then take your message even higher. So, and I do mean higher as in divine.
Yeah.
So, and some people don't know that, and they're not cherishing that beautiful gift. So we want to work with you if you don't want to be a celebrity. That's fine. And we also can help you navigate what that is, the pitfalls and the joy of what that is, because it's a game onto itself.
Yeah.
Long answer. Your turn.
Whole different thing. I will say this, because if what is behind, hold on a second, I'm getting a little echoey. Do you hear that? Well, hold on a sec. What I will say, okay, well, there we go. What I will say is that if what is behind this question that I'm looking at that says, oh, I don't want that. If what is behind that is that you are somehow afraid of serving at a high level, or people noticing you, or being outstanding, then that's something we're going to be working through as well. Because sometimes for folks, Kim, as you know, it's about they don't want to play at a very high level. And the only thing about that is when you truly desire to serve at a high level, people will notice. I mean, the name of this course is Lights, Cameras, Action, How to Get Seen, Noticed, and Booked. Yep. So that you can serve at a high level. So we're going to be talking about mindset. I'm glad this question came up, because we're going to be talking about mindset. We know that to some degree, we all, depending on what topic we're talking about, more than likely, most of us have struggled with trying to accept our light and our greatness. And I think it was Marianne Williamson that says it's our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. So I'm glad you brought this question up from Houston, Texas, because we're going to be delving into that in week 1 of Lights, Cameras, Action. What is your mindset? And Kim is going to talk about what is your why. Why do you want this? Why are you doing this? Because what we may find is that there are some incongruencies between what you say you want and why you're doing it. And therefore, maybe the path may be a little bit, let's see, maybe it'll take you a little bit longer because you're not clear on that divine assignment, your purpose, why you're doing it. So we're going to talk about that as well.
The other thing too, I'll say to that is really understanding the mindset is important, because it will help you make decisions when the time comes. I have always said that you are as defined by your yeses, by your no's, as you are by your yeses. So what you say yes to and what you say no to are equally important. And when you have your mindset in place, you won't have to say yes to things you don't want to say yes to. I've had people say to me, well, I have to take off my clothes. Well, I have to speak with a producer. No, if that's not your mindset, you won't have to. No one has to, by the way. And and you will still make it, and you will still stand in your own values and in your own truth by setting that mindset in place first.
Well, you know what? It's time for this. Time for a little applause. I'm going to take a swig of water real quick, Kim.
Oh, take a swig of tea.
And we're going to
applause from. I want some of that.
Did you hear about the applause? Did you hear that?
Hilarious.
You can open up the effects over there to the left. Just kind of toggle to the left.
I see.
You're getting a training right here, guys, as you're watching us live. Is go to Google Effects and then bring it up and then scroll over to sounds, and you'll get some of that. You can get some real fun sounds. So
okay, good.
We're going to keep it moving. I'm going to do a shout out to Chantel, who says, Kim and Fran, look for my name. We will look for your name, Chantel.
Look for your name.
I love that. We will look for your name. Okay, so someone asked from New York.
Mm-hmm.
I have. Is there any special TV experience I need before I sign up for Lights, Cameras, Action?
No, there is no experience. No experience necessary, because we're going to give you the tools that you need. And here's the great thing about this course is that whatever level you are at, we can serve you. So we're going to make sure that we get everyone really on the same page where they are, because we're giving you ideas about opportunities, how to find opportunities that you may not know exist. And somebody who's experienced and somebody who's not experienced alike can use that information. So no, you don't have to have any experience up front. This will get you closer. And we're going to have some resources for you that will put you light years ahead of people who actually are even already in the business, because we have so much experience. We're teaching from what we already know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when we first started, how much time did you spend? I can only speak for myself, looking for opportunities and looking for networking groups and looking for auditions and looking for names of producers and that kind of stuff. I mean, and then 20, 25 years ago, the internet was literally just a baby in 1996, 97, 98. It was just a baby. So
I was Googling, Google didn't exist.
Exactly.
So I was getting periodicals in New York. They have Backstage magazine and other magazines, and I was reading, and you'd scour the back and look for, and then you go to the place and go upstairs and see if it was real. It's just, we can cut out a lot of that stuff for you so that you're just getting what you need. And then you'll know how to also search for opportunities for yourself once the class is over.
Yep. Here's one thing that typically gets into people's way, and this is also a question, it's a form of a question that I'm looking at right now, and that question is, how do you deal with a non-supportive family member, or if your family's saying, get your head out of the clouds, you're never going to do that? Kim, did you experience any of that?
I actually didn't, thankfully. I did get, I had parents who are not in show business and didn't understand it. And their advice to me is always be careful, and what are you doing, and why are you doing this? But once I explained to them that this was my heart and this was my soul, they were on board with me. And as I blossomed, to use your word, they really began to understand it more. So I think you just have to help your family member understand that this is your gift, and that this is your message, and that you're going to work hard. And when they see you working hard, and when they see you studying, when they see you taking a class like Lights, Cameras, Action, when they see that you're serious about this dream that you have, they will have to enroll with you. They will have to come along with you for the ride and say, you know what, you're working so hard, and this is what I hope for you, whoever this is. I would hope that once they see how hard you're working and how much you want this, and how dedicated you are, that they will understand that and come along for the ride. Now, maybe that's a little Pollyanna for me. I don't want to tell anybody to divorce a family member who's negative. Yeah. But I'll let you. I like to play good cop, and you like to play bad cop. Take it back. Bad cop, but just like the other side of it is that if they're not in your dream, then you just you change your vistas from here to here, right?
Yep, no question. And I would say I leverage and cherish what I call the research and the practice of rejection, because if you have family members and friends who are saying, girl, please, or dude, you're sorry, you're not going to do that. I mean, if you have those people, that's practice for the business. That's how I see it. It's practice for the business. So change the way you approach that, the way you see that. Don't be so devastated because your mother or your daddy or your best friend or your bestie is not believing in your vision. It's your vision. It's your dream. It's your vision. And yes, it feels wonderful when you tell somebody you love and you like that you're going to do something and they get excited. But that's not necessarily always the case. So you leverage that as practice for the business. I don't know about you, Kim, but I haven't gotten every audition I've ever gone for. I've gotten over 80% of them, but there's that 20% that I haven't gotten. So the rejection or the hateration that you guys may call it, that you're getting from the public or people online or loved ones or spouses or whatever, you don't have to be debilitated by that. You can say, okay, that's an interesting perspective. That it's just, for me, it's just research, practice, and perspective. So it doesn't have to be this negative thing that shuts you down. And then 10 years later, you're calling me and Kim talking about it. Do y'all still have lights, cameras, action? Because I'm ready now. But you can walk through that fear. Because here's the thing, when people try to shut you down, when people say, oh, you can't do that, or people like you don't do that, it does bring up your doubt. It does. I would be lying if when I heard those things, I didn't go, ooh. But then I go, okay, this is my dream. I got to keep it moving. So it's okay that you're stymied by it. It's okay that you feel the doubt, but walk through that. Have faith and walk through that.
I like that. Good. That was great. Bad cop, good cop. You know what I mean? I didn't mean bad cop, but I mean, you give the other perspective. I'm like, yeah, they'll come around. Don't worry. You're like, no, use that rejection to your benefit. And that's a great perspective.
Yeah. So keep moving. All right, Kim, what else are we talking about in lights, cameras, action?
I'm looking for hold on. I got my folder right here.
Good job.
Everything from, we have we have the 7 C's.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Can help you cross the 7 C's in order to be successful. And by the way, success looks different to everyone.
Yes.
And we're going to help you clarify and get really clear about what success is. And in this business of show business and what we're talking about, lights, cameras, action, everything builds upon everything else. And success here, everyone's looking for their next job. And I like to say this to actors and comedians in particular, that at any given time, over 90% of performers are unemployed. And you can't let that stop you. I mean, Halle Berry has a movie right now. Today she did. Tomorrow she doesn't have one. I mean, that's just the way it is. But the things that we're going to be teaching in lights, cameras, action are a wonderful base of knowledge, a wonderful way to study and look for resources and opportunities for yourself, a wonderful mindset, so that once you go forth, you're constantly building and building and building. And I'm excited about this. I wish I'd had something like this when I was starting out, or even in the middle. To let me know that things are going to come, they're going to go, and this is what to do with it, and this is how to build, and this is who to be, to stand in your truth at all times, so that no matter what happens, you are unshakable. I wish that I'd had this in the beginning, in the middle, and now I've got it because I'm teaching it. So now we've got it because we're teaching it.
No question. Okay, got a question from Mark. What happens in an audition? I can share one, and then you share one, and then I'll share one.
What happens in an audition? Depends on what type of audition it is. Did he specify what he wanted to know? What kind?
No, I can't tell if he's an actor or whatever, but in general, maybe what happens in an audition.
Let's just say in general, you find out that there's an opportunity for a job and you are called to come in audition for it. What happens in an audition, sometimes you're reading some text, they send you some text that you have to be able to read on camera. If you're an actor or a comedian, even if you're an expert, if you're auditioning for a commercial, there's always going to be some text. You study that text on your own, and we could talk about techniques to do that. And you have to walk into the room, and it's sometimes a sea of people. Sometimes it's one person with a camera, and your job is to show up and deliver that material as best you can as you, even if you're putting on a character. That's why I'm trying to be as general as possible.
Yeah.
Your job is to show up as you and give them the best version of yourself. They'll ask you to do it. They may ask you to do it again. They may ask you to shift, like, well, you know what? Can you do it again with a little bit more energy or a little bit less energy? Can you do it a little bit louder? Would you like to sit down? There's all kinds of things that happen. And we have to prepare you for this because anything can happen. You sort of have to be ready for almost anything. And you deliver your text, your script, your monologue, and then you leave and you wait for that call. That's a really general description of what
That's pretty
happens.
good.
Yeah,
That's good.
it depends. As I had one yesterday, so that's how I know.
How'd it go?
I think it went well, and I'll tell you what happened. Just before I went in, they came out and announced for everyone. It was a comedy piece, and I think everyone was going in and being really big. The casting director came out and said, "Everyone, she's much more real. Yes, she's funny, but you don't have to take it over the top." And we got that note just before I went in. I was planning to go in and be over the top because it's written over the top. So I was able to, in the hallway, walking in to go into the room, make my adjustments that were necessary to give them the performance they wanted, because this is what they asked for. And I feel it went really well. I'm waiting for the call right now. I'm waiting for the call because it's a great character.
That's great. That's great. Fantastic. The other thing that happens in auditions is sometimes it's a conversation, y'all. Sometimes it's literally like, just tell us about you, especially if you're not an actress or an actor, if you're an expert, if you're going to be like on a panel of people who are going to be talking about a topic, like maybe on the show The Doctors or Dr. Oz or one of Oprah's shows or something like that, where you're in a panel of experts. So they're just like, well, tell us about you. And then there's this one thing they will ask you. And if they don't ask you, they're still looking for it. Even if sometimes it's just an unasked, that's a hard word to say, question. And that is, what is your point of view? Who are you and what's your POV? By the way, we're going to teach you all these little acronyms that you hear in the business, but what's your POV? And what that means is, how do you do what you do? Right? So there's something that makes you you. I'm a life coach. I'm a business coach, but the next person walks in, they should be able to pick me out of a lineup based on my point of view. They should be able to pick you out of a lineup if you're a marriage counselor or a therapist or a comedian or whatever. They should be your style. It's your style and your delivery, your methodology. What is your point of view is very important. And if they feel like, you don't really have a point of view, like I can't tell you from person X, then you don't have a good shot of getting the part. But if you walk in there and it's not a performance, but you just know who you are, you know what you stand for, you know how you do what you do. And that's the other thing. You have to be able to say, here's who I am, here's what I do, here's how I do what I do.
Nice.
Right? Because a lot of times in the audition room, it's a conversation. So they may throw out a question that says, so Fran, what makes your methodology for coaching people in business or entrepreneurs so different? Then I go in and talk about what my point of view is and what has informed my point of view. How did I get that way? And a lot of times for me, quite honestly, it is about sports. And I feel like that makes me stand out a little bit. I do have a sports background, so I don't try to shy away from that. I don't make it the thing. But the fact of the matter is my background as an athlete informs the way I do business. Gotcha. And so you got to be able to talk about your point of view.
I love that. You just helped me to remember a gig that I didn't get because I didn't have a strong point of view. It was early in my career, really, really early. And they were talking to me about doing a talk show, which I realize now I wasn't ready for anyway. Yeah. But the executives, we sat and talked, and certainly I can bring the funny, I can bring the energy. And they said, who would be your first guest? And this was my answer. You know what I'd love to have? I want to have Charlton Heston because he played Moses in the 10 Commandments. Now, this is before he had passed away. And it was like, of all the guests you would want to have when you're talking, that was an honest answer. I gave my point of view. Yeah. But these executives who were going to be possibly giving me a talk show didn't want me to, didn't want to hear me say, I want to book Moses on my talk show.
Did you hear that?
You know what's funny? Even if I had said, well, it would be funny because, I know that he was very strong with the gun, people, whatever that is. I can't think of it right now.
NRA.
So if I had said, well, I want to get him on because I want to talk to him about being with the NRA because I believe in that or I don't believe in that or whatever, that would have been a point of view. But I was like, I want Moses because I love 10 Commandments is one of my favorite movies. They were like, okay, nice meeting you. And I was like, that's it. I didn't have, I certainly had a better point of view than that, but that was the answer I gave at the time. So anyway, that's my little story.
Did you hear the drums?
Yes, I did. And by the way, you froze right after that. You're frozen right now in this amazing classic face. I should take a picture of you, the face you're making at me. face
I
they gave
can tell I'm frozen. Take a picture
I
of it.
hope
It's
it doesn't
crazy
unfreeze.
over here.
I'm taking a picture of the screen so I can send this to Fran. This is the face they made for me. I'm sending it to you in just a moment. Okay.
All right, guys, don't worry if you can't see me. I am still here and we are still rolling. Kim, you just said something that I think everybody should hear, and
What?
that is, you said I wasn't ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody likes that. I mean, I've gone into auditions, and it's interesting in that when you're in the business, you kind of know what sometimes people go in and it immediately happens for them. But for most of us, there is a path that you take, and you kind of know it's going to be 2 to 3 years for this. It's going to be 3 to 5 years from that. It's weird because I remember when I first moved to LA in like 2003, and I met with TV One, and one of the executives, he's no longer there, but he was like, I'll see you in about 3 years. I mean, that's what he said. And I was like,
Wow.
what do you mean you're gonna see me in about 3 years? I'm so ready for this. But he knew. And
Yeah.
3 years later, I was up for hosting gigs. It's weird.
There you go.
How do you deal with maybe not being ready?
Well, I love that he gave you a wonderful gift. That's a gift. And by the way, don't hear these. It's going to sound like criticism to you. It's going to sound like criticism when someone gives you a note.
Yeah.
Don't take it as criticism. Take it as a beautiful gift. I had a major director tell me, you're really good in this area. You're really funny, and you've got something. I really think you should get into some classes if you want to do this kind of work. Like you just really, and at first my feelings were really hurt. And I was like, no, I'm glad that I actually wrote them a note saying, thank you so much for taking the time to tell me that. I receive it, and I will, or I won't get in class. I realized I wasn't going to become some big dramatic actress. That's not something that was part of my dream, something I wanted to do. It would be wonderful to add that in my toolbox. But I love that that this person gave you that wonderful gift, and I've been there before where it was even obvious to me that maybe I was ready because I wanted to do it, but even I wasn't ready to play with the big boys. And you're ready if you have you're gone. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Just the pictures there. I don't know what I want to say. I think that what was the question? I went off topic.
Someone says when you're not ready. That whole that when people hear that, you said it beautifully. Like it's not a criticism necessarily.
Take that as a constructive criticism. Take that as a gift that someone's giving you, and continue to get ready. And you are ready for the next thing that's in front of you. Go do that, and eventually you'll be ready for the next and the next and the next. It's a blossoming, as you said, is a building, as I say, blossoming and building.
Absolutely. And I mean, none of us in any area of our lives are who we were when we started doing something. So sometimes we get that twisted. Sometimes we think, I'm an ingenue, I'm a protege, and I came out and I'm fantastic. No. Nobody is great at anything normally when they first start out. I was terrible at basketball at first. But you build your skills as an actress. I'm not going to say you were terrible. I wasn't there, but you're not who you are today. I'm not who I was 25 years ago in any area of my life. So why do we think it's going to be that way when it's time to get on television? It's time to shine as a comedian or an actress or a host. So you have to be willing to take the journey, y'all. You have to be willing to say, okay, here's where I am today. I may not be ready to play with her right now, or him. I may not be ready to star alongside this actor or actress right now, but I'm on my way.
Yes, I love it.
On my way. I'm on my way.
I think a class like Lights, Camera, Action will help you get on your way. You can feel, I hope you guys who are watching this, you can actually feel the genuine care and concern with which we have put this course together. It comes out of some of it comes out of what we didn't get as we were on our path. Some of it comes out of saying, we're here now. We want to reach back and make sure that we give as much as we have been given. We have been poured into over these years. People, mentors stepped in along the way. There were courses that you took. There were courses that I took. There were courses of action that I took that sent me on a path that was yay or nay. And we're just in this place now where we want to help people. I like to say shorten the distance between striving and thriving. Yeah. And that's what this is all about. That's what this is all about.
Cool. Another question from Cameron. Cameron out of Los Angeles asked him, is asking us, how much money should I set aside? Not for the course, obviously. If you're ready to enroll and have fun with me and Kim, you can go to lightscamerasaction.tv. You can go there to our school, and you can see what Lights Cameras Action is all about. We're here to answer questions, and Cameron has a great question. After I enroll in courses, after I enroll in Lights Cameras Action, how much money should I set aside to pursue whatever I'm going to be pursuing? Do we have a ballpark figure?
I would say the first thing you're going to need to invest in is a great set of headshots. And so depending on where you live, depending on where you are, I would say, like in places like LA and New York, you might need to spend, $300 and up for a decent photographer, maybe $400 for a really decent photographer that will help. And this is, by the way, not pictures on your iPhone. This is a professional headshot, which is your calling card. So I would say that would be the first investment that is most important. The next investment would be just time. Really, time and research, either a workshop if you're an actor, or a class if you're a comedian, or classes for coaches, and maybe it's speaking or presentation courses or something like that. So I would just say it could be minimal. I would say the first thing would be headshots. The second thing would be some workshops. A workshop like this one would be perfect for you because we're going to really cover a lot of topics. Obviously, of course, I'm going to try to sell you to come into this course because I think it's a great investment for you. And I don't know what else at this point. And I don't, by the way, I'm not including in that investment moving to any other major city, because I think where you are right now, you can start and build where you are. What do you think?
Cool. Wanda Wisdom on not Facebook, on YouTube asked him. She asks, can you cover, and this is kind of what we just did, can you cover how one on a tight budget can get photos and headshots?
That's a good question. Okay, first of all, go and Google great headshots or best headshots. And go and look and open it up and open up all the images and look through all the images and find someone who kind of looks like you, and click through their pictures and see what you like about their photo. Is it serious? Is there a smile? What's the lighting like? So that when you go and find a photographer, maybe a friend could do it for you with great lighting, outdoor lighting, a decent camera against a brick wall or a plain wall. Reproduce that photo. Maybe that's your first headshot until you get a little job, and then you're able to invest in more. So I could say that if somebody's got a great camera and a great eye, and you've gone through the internet and found like a version of the shot that you want, you could recreate that shot, not on an iPhone or an Android, by the way, but with a decent camera, it can be done. I don't recommend it, but it can be done if that's all you've got. Yeah. And take that friend out to lunch, and then you've gotten a free, an inexpensive headshot. What do you think?
Great idea. This goes back to what we were talking about networking. Get in your community. If you're a screenwriter, get in a community with filmmakers, directors, producers, because there's somebody in there who could take those pictures. If you're an actress or a comedian or a speaker, coach, get in your community. I was about to say this. Have you seen this commercial of We Have the Meats? I think that's Ving Rhames. Have you seen that? We have the meat. It's an Arby commercial. Anyway, we have the goods. We have the shortcuts. That's what Lights Cameras Action.tv is all about. We have the shortcuts. I don't know anybody who wants to take the long way, who wants to go to Dallas from Houston by way of Buffalo. I don't know that person. Why would you do that when you could go straight down I-35 once you get off of 290? And you guys know what I'm talking about if you live in Texas. But the point is, we've got the shortcuts. That's what this is about.
You got the meats and the shortcuts. That's hilarious.
We've got the shortcuts. That's what Lights, Cameras, Action.tv is all about. We've got the shortcuts. I want to give a shout out real quick from YouTube. Some people who commented on our video. Hooked Up Entertainment said they were watching and they were enjoying it. Pamela Clark said that she's producing a TV show in Buffalo, and they were trying to figure out how they were gonna get all this done, and Lights, Cameras, Action has answered their prayer. Great. And then Cassandra Wells said, we dropped some knowledge, and she, everybody's excited about it, Kim, so I want to pass that.
I can see the comments too. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the other thing I will say, you made me think of something when you were talking about The last thing, what were you talking about? Now sound like you. What were you talking about? What was the first thing that you were talking about when I asked you this question? Oh, I know what it was. Because is there a cheap way to do it or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there an inexpensive way to do it? The other tool, Kim talked about headshots. I'll talk about a simple web page, a simple website. Like in 2016, there's no reason for you to be stressing and sweating over getting a website up. I mean, if you want some ideas on how to get your website up, you can actually email us at support@lightscamerasaction.tv. I'm going to give you some ideas. You can go to wix.com, wix.com. I've never done one there, but they are advertising and it looks like it's really easy. So I have no connection to wix.com. I'm just telling you that it shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes to get a website up. And so what you need is to be able to showcase your talents. If you don't need a website, just start a YouTube channel, right? Start a Facebook page. These are potential, digital assets and websites that you can use to send people a link. Now, ultimately, I will say as a business coach that you need your own real estate. You need yourname.com or yourcompany.com. Yes, you do. But to get started, just to have some links and some stuff, some videos to show people, just get a YouTube channel, get a Facebook page or
an about me page.
And absolutely. An about me page is plenty.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely plenty. And here's the thing I will say. Back in the day when I got my first website was in 1998, right? I was just finishing playing in the WNBA and my website was in 1998. It was thousands of dollars that I spent for that website. Wow. It was phenomenal, but it was thousands of dollars and nobody cares. People want to be able to find what they're looking for. This is the little $1 million nugget for you. If you're thinking about going out there and getting your website, make it easy to navigate, make it easy to find your stuff. They just want to know who you are, what you do, and how you do it. You don't need boom, pow, wow. You don't need flash. You don't need stuff loading. Website is loading. Mothership is loading. Nobody cares about any of that. Someone who's coming to book you wants to know who you are, what you stand for, what your point of view is, and how you do what you do. Yes. 3 to 5 pages at the most. And I love even what Kim says about me. And here's a link to my YouTube channel. Boom, done.
Yep, love it. Oh, that's good.
Okay, so we are winding down. We're winding down. Kim?
I like the way you wind down.
We are winding down. We've got a couple more questions, but Kim, has anything come to your mind as we've been kind of following the questions that have come in? Anything else you think we should say?
No, I love that. I love the idea of the website. That's really good. I forgot about that. That's good. And no, just take another question. I'm good.
Okay, cool.
I wish I could see them.
No, these came in early, and then something's not happening in the Google chat, so you can't see these. These are questions that came in. There's some on YouTube from a previous video that we put up, and then there are the questions that people emailed us.
Okay.
So good. I'm looking at the same thing you're looking at, and I don't see any questions in the chat either. So I'm just going to roll with what we already have.
Okay, good.
All right, cool. This is from Tamara. How do you handle objections? Not objections. How do you handle rejection in the business?
It comes with the territory. If you know that going in, it's not rejection. It's just that was not your job. That was just not your job. That was not your opportunity. That was not your train. That was not your bus. There'll be another one coming along. And that's really how it goes. As I said before, at least for performers, at any given point, 90% of us are not working. And if you add that into that, and we're really encouraging experts or people who want to be experts and personalities and coaches and authors and speakers to take this course. Also, the same goes for you. At any given time, there's one gig at a time, and you just move on. It just wasn't meant for you to have. You move on. I have a ritual that I do. I can't find them right now. When you go to audition as an actor, they have something called sides. They take a side out of the script. When I'm done auditioning, I fold it in half and I toss it on the back seat of my car. So I say, I'm putting that back there. And if they call me, I can reach it again, and go back and re-audition if they call me, if I have a call back. But I always move past it. I did my best. If you did your best in the room, if you gave it your all, you have to just move past it, and something else will come. No doubt.
Yeah, definitely. A marathon. If you intend to be in the business as long as we have, it's a marathon. If you are short-sighted, you're just looking for a quick hitter, this is not, I mean, I recommend that you go and do something else. This is not that business, because it's the marathon. You got to plan on a quarter of a century career, century career, whatever you plan to do. If I look at, I saw Cicely Tyson on House of Cards on Netflix the other night. And I said, you go, Cicely Tyson, right?
Yes. Love it.
Yeah. So that's multiple, that's 50, 60, 70 years in the business. You've got to have a long-term plan. You've got to have a long-term vision. So I thought we would just wrap up, Kim. I like that question, just kind of talking about whether you let rejection just knock you down or kill you or whatever. My thing is, again, use it as fuel, learn from it. Don't be afraid to ask people. I love the feedback. Appreciate any feedback you can give me. Don't be afraid of feedback. Sometimes we're so insecure, we're so fragile that we can't handle feedback. Don't be afraid of feedback. It is a beautiful, beautiful gift. So I thought we would wrap up, Kim, kind of talking a little bit about, go for it.
Can I tell you my favorite feedback ever?
Yes.
They didn't tell it to me. I asked my agent, why didn't I get that gig? Because I just thought it was so right for me. Can you please ask them for feedback? And the feedback was, she underwhelmed us. I was like, I underwhelmed you?
Yes.
I walked in the room and I didn't give them nothing. Now, I had just gotten off a plane. I was jet lagged. I was tired. It was, I believe them.
Yeah.
That was not the most helpful, but it was, I understood it. I had underwhelmed them. So we want to help you never underwhelm. You should walk in the room and shine every chance you get. And that's what Lights, Cameras, Action is all about. I took you off your track, what you were about to say. Go ahead.
No, that's great. I've actually gotten that as well. And I thought, well, that wasn't very helpful. Could you give me something specific? How just to what degree did I underwhelm you? I mean, I want to know, to what degree was I underwhelming?
Underwhelmed.
Sometimes they won't give you that. And I think, honestly, even that's a gift. Sometimes just to say, if somebody's like, that's not what you're looking for. You want someone to say, ooh, I'm having a hard time. She's not right. Kim's not right for this, but we're going to remember that Kim Cole's girl.
Right.
I mean,
It was like,
that's what you want. You want them to go, ooh, how can we make this happen? And then the people in the room, you want people fighting in the room for you, going, we have to get her in here. We have to get him in here. Yes.
We'll hire her next time. So
yes.
I don't think those people have ever called to me. I really was like, that's the death knell of your career, for someone to just be like,
yeah, I could take her or leave her. Yeah, okay. I can take him or leave him. So don't be afraid to step into your genius, you guys, your greatness. Yeah. We all have that unique gift. Some of us, many of them, that allows you to walk into a room. And as a producer friend of mine says, your aura is 100 feet in front of you. We can feel you coming. Like that's quite a compliment when they can feel you coming. Or as another producer friend says, some people are running on batteries, and then there are people who when they walk into the room, you can tell they're plugged into the wall. They're electric, they're magnetic, you can feel them. Well, all of us have that. Think about it. All of us have that. But what's happened is, we come to into the world as a baby. We're glorious. We have no limitation. And then we have to learn to doubt ourselves. We have to learn to be afraid of stuff. We have to learn to not believe in ourselves. Yeah. All of that was taught. It's conditioning. It's imprinting, which means, glory, hallelujah, that you can unteach yourself. You can unlearn those things that have been holding you back.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, we're great examples. I don't know about your family, Kim. I think from our conversation, when I say regular people, I don't mean ordinary people, just regular working people. Those are my parents. My parents didn't finish high school, but they instilled in us, go for it. Do whatever you want to do. I don't quite understand what you're doing, but if you know what you're doing and it's ethical and it's legal and it's going to keep you out of jail and prison, go for it. Go for it. And there was nothing, no silver spoons in my family, no platinum spoons or anything like that. Just people who worked hard, who stepped into their genius and said, let's let the good times roll and let's see what we can become.
I love it. I love it.
All right. So Lights, Cameras, Action is blasting off in a few days. Yes, it's blasting off in a few days. And as Kim mentioned earlier, it's 4 master classes where we're going to be talking about everything from how to get your point of view on track to how do you take an audition, how do you take a meeting. And we blast off, as I mentioned, with mindset, because we need your mind and your heart in the right place to do what we know you can do. The other thing, we're going to be talking about all the opportunities in the first week. And I'm not going to go in order or anything like that. I want to keep us on screen. We're going to talk about all the opportunities that are out there. game
Yes.
shows, talk shows,
Yes.
morning shows, your own show, all that kind of stuff. Kim and I have done all of that. Between the two of us, we've done all of that. So we know the highs, the lows, the road bumps, and all those great things.
Yes.
What
We're
else?
going to talk about your it factor and how to tap into your it factor and how to stay plugged in at all times. I'm looking, which by the way, it factor equals mojo. You know that. What's your mojo?
Yeah.
How to get your mojo up and going. So you
Yep.
just do like that all the time. I'm looking for the rest of my notes. We're going to be talking about casting resources and giving you great resources. So you have, by the way, at the end of each class, well, I'll let you, do you want to go back?
No, go for it. Go for it.
What I love about this course is, so we're going to give you we have the meats. We're going to give you the meat, and then we're going to give you some potatoes too. At the end of each class, there will be a live Q&A, which I'm so excited about because that means we can really drill down. So we give you all the heady stuff, but then we find out what it is you really want to know that's really fine-tuned and customized just for our participants. I'm super excited about that. And there will be an action guide and a resource guide that follows up each and every one of our master classes. And then our fourth master class is all Q&A.
Yep.
So you've put some things in action, you've put some things into force. Maybe you have a headshot, you'd like us to take a look at it and give you some feedback on it. I love that this is going to be customized for you. This is just not two talking heads saying, this is what you should do, this is how you should do it, and bye-bye. We're really setting you up for success and really customizing the experience for each and every participant. And that actually is my favorite part of it, because we're going to be able to drill down and get you what you need.
Here's one of my favorite parts. We're going to be able to talk to you from a couple of different places. Number one, working for other people, meaning other production companies, studios, networks, and those kinds of things. But both Kim and I both have our own production companies. And so we can talk about, you know what, maybe you don't want to go audition for something. Maybe you just want to start your own thing. You still need to know everything we're talking about in class. You need to know how to find the right people to be in your plays or your movies, your independent films. You need to find the right people to be on your TV shows. You need to know all of that stuff that we're going to be talking about. Now, it's not a technical workshop on how to produce something, but we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the fact that you can go and build your own. You can go and do, and you're still going to need to know all the things that we're going to be talking about in lights, cameras, action, how to take a meeting, to meet with the people who are maybe shooting your television show or your YouTube channel. All of that is vital to succeeding in this business. And we're going to leave as much as, try not to leave out too much in our 3 weeks, plus the major Q&A on that fourth week, where it's about implementation, as Kim mentioned, execution, and answering your questions. If you are watching us right now, it tells us a lot about you. This is what you want. Don't be afraid of it. You can't be scared. You got to go out there. You got to do your thing. And you can sign up for our course at lightscamerasaction.com. Rewind that. Thank you, Kim Coles. Lightscamerasaction.tv. That was my first time doing that. .tv. Lightscamerasaction.tv. We've got a full tapestry of things to share with you in terms of auditions, taking meetings, resources, as Kim mentioned, the different kinds of shows that are out there, how to reach out to producers, what to say. What to say is so important. What to say when you call your local television station and say, hey, I just saw you guys talking about my area of expertise. I'd like to come on and talk about that. What do you say in that pitch meeting? Kim, how important is it to know what to say in pitch meetings?
I think it is vital. It is vital to know. That's all I have to say.
That's all I got for you.
To have a template in your mind of, again, you mentioned this before, who you are, what you do and why you do what you do. If you have that already ready and already, I wouldn't say rehearsed, but I would say ready, and maybe it needs to be rehearsed. Maybe in the beginning it needs to be rehearsed, and then you can go off and talk past that. Then you walk in ahead of the game. You walk in answering questions for them that they haven't even asked yet. And I got to tell you that going back to your audition question, going back to these kinds of auditions where they're interview based, if you answer people's questions before they even ask them, then you are actually stepping into this role, stepping into this opportunity. They're like, oh my goodness, this is better than what we asked for. We were gonna try to find out if you were the one. You're telling us that you're the one. And it's all about being as ready as you can be for any opportunity, and then being able to, play when they throw you something, being able to catch the ball and throwing it back at them. That's my little sports reference. That's the only reference I have there. You get what I'm saying. So I think that it is very important to know what to say. And I think you do that by knowing who you are first, and then you are unbeatable when you have that. When you have that, you are unbeatable.
Great thing. Last thing, I think this is a very important question. It's not on my list, but I remember someone asking me this over the course of the last 2 weeks when we've been talking about lights, cameras, action. They talked about reinventing themselves. They said, how do you keep reinventing yourself? And so I'm going to throw this at you, Kim, and then I'll answer it as well. When Living Single, which was a hit show on Fox, we all loved Living Single. When Living Single was on, how difficult, if at all, was it to wonder if that was ever going to end and to wonder what you were going to do? How did you approach when this is over? Because possibly it will be. I don't know any television show that runs forever. When this is over, what am I going to do?
I already I prepared. Now, let me say this. Let me say that it was extremely difficult after I left the show. It was really tough because you're leaving a long-term show, you're leaving your friends, you're leaving a job. It was difficult. However, I set myself up for success. Long story short, when I first arrived at Hollywood and I began to look around the landscape, and I saw a lot of 40 and 50-year-old actresses that seemed really broken and desperate and just like, what am I going to do next? I knew that I didn't want to be that. So I made sure that I did lots of things. When the opportunities were there, I did lots of things. So even during the breaks on Living Single, I worked every last one of my breaks. I would go on the road and do stand-up. I did a one-woman show. I wrote a book. I was writing a book in my trailer in between scenes. So I constantly prepared myself for the moment when this show would be over. And although it was still difficult, the emotional side of it was tough. But I was prepared to go forth and continue to do what I was doing because I set more groundwork for it. I kept building the blocks. And so I would say, wherever you are, and whatever it is that you're doing, constantly build the blocks for your next thing, your next thing, your next thing. Taking a class like this is preparing you for your next thing, your next thing, your next thing, keeping that present of mind so that when I did turn 40, I wasn't, maybe I may or may not have been working, but I wasn't desperate and, looking like I would take anything, any crumb that you gave me. I still could stand in my truth and stand in my value and stand in that place of presence of saying, no, I'm not going to take that just because I need the money. Even if I did need the money, I'm going to do that because it still speaks to my soul. Because sometimes you do things just for the money. And by the way, that almost never works out well for me. If I do it just for the check, it never works out well. It's like,
I've said anytime I've done something for the money, as I can best remember, it hasn't paid off well. So I try to figure out something else to do. But I love what you said about just being ready. It's about being positioned for success.
Yes.
And, 40, 50 years ago, remember guys, if you were a film actress, you didn't dare do television, darling. That was not something you did. And if you were a television, they wouldn't dare call you a movie star. Well, it's different now. What I love is that I get to see Jessica Lange now on TV. Like, she was one of my favorite film stars. And I'm like, and she didn't work for a while until this glorious transition happened where television exploded. And now you see people in films and doing television. That's the way it should be. So the point is, exactly as Kim said, diversify where it makes sense. Diversify.
One word.
No question.
Diversify. That's the answer.
Diversify. Like, do a couple of things. It's okay. Create synergy around those, or maybe there is no synergy. I'm not judging you because you go do stand-up comedy and then you go do something completely away from that. Do you, boo-boo. Just do you. Do you. Don't worry about anything other than standing in your truth, being ethical and legal, because you don't have time to go to prison. I mean, although it did work for Wesley Snipes, he went to prison, came back, boom, got a series. Again, it's a different world today.
Right.
So do you understand that there are a myriad of things that you can do to build your brand by leveraging the power of television? And that's what Lights, Cameras, Action.tv is all about. With that, Kim, do you want to say one thing? The last bell, the final bell?
I was like, is that my doorbell or that yours? No, that's it. This was a whole lot of
toys, wonderful toys.
No, I feel complete.
I feel good. I feel very good. And you guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us for Lights, Cameras, Action, how to get seen, how to get noticed, how to get booked. Join us in this masterclass experience. This is going to be more than an experience. It's going to be an excursion. It's going to be a lot of fun. You've seen who we are. This is what you're getting in class that launches in a few days. Remember, it's 3 masterclasses with live Q&A at the end. And then the final masterclass, which is the 4th week, is a combination of Q&A, implementation, execution. What do you need? Where are you? What are those final questions before you blast off into your path on success? So thank you guys.
You want to talk about the other, they can work with us even further, even more. We've got a bigger excursion for them, don't we?
Yep, absolutely. So once you join us at this level, we're going to be doing something this summer in Los Angeles, a live lights, cameras action, where you get to press flash with us and have fun with us and be in the room with us, meet some experts, meet some people in the business who can even get you further in your career. So lots of different ways you can do that. We're going to have a private Facebook group for those of you who join us at that level. Monthly coaching for those of you who join us at that level. There are 3 different levels, but again, you can see all of this at Lights, Cameras, Action.tv. You can see all of that there. And join in and get in where you fit in. Get in where you are right now. We've got some people who've already joined us. Laquita Thompson, shout out to you. I believe Jay, I can't remember Jay's last name. Shout out to you and a couple more folks who have joined us in the last few minutes and hours. Thank you so much for your faith and your trust in us. We are going to give you the goods and the meats very soon with Lights, Cameras, Action. Get on over to Lights, Cameras, Action.tv. Find your place to get in. Work with me and Kim Coles, and we love you guys already. We already know that, and we'll see you soon. Kim, you got anything else?
I'm going to take some of the books off my bookshelf, and then I just made my screen bigger. I have way too many books. Way too many books. But yes, thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a great week, great weekend. We will see you in class in a few days. Take care.
Bye.